y'all. Welcome to another great episode of Organic the Podcast. This is your hostess with the mostest, Kia Santiago. I am so excited, guys. We are in the great season number 2 of Organic the Podcast, and we are moving on forward. So, you know that this season is all about the show Girlfriends, season 1 of Girlfriends. And I'm breaking down each episode into just, what would you do? How do you feel about it? You're just dissecting it, okay? I'm applying it to real life. I want to know what you would do. I'm going to let you know what I would do and all that great stuff. So tonight's episode is actually called One Night Stand. Ooh. Now, y'all know y'all done had a couple of one-night stands. Y'all know y'all had a few one-night stands. I'm not even gonna lie. I've had some one-night stands I remember, some one-night stands I don't remember, some one-night stands I wish I didn't remember. But anywho's, so if you guys have not watched episode 2, definitely go do so before diving into this episode of the podcast. All right. So, One Night Stand. This particular episode right here was good. It was so good. Joan, who hasn't had sex in a year, decided to have a one-night stand with the handsome restaurant owner, Davis. Now, I've done some celibacy trips, I've went about 6 months. I don't think I've lasted the entire full year. Probably like 9 or 10 months was like my, okay, I got to just get it in. But, to each his own. I do think having a sexual cleanse from time to time is awesome. It's good. If you're not in a committed relationship, because I don't want to say, deny your man or deny your woman the cookie or the, or the woody or whatever. But, you got to do what works for you in your relationship. So, Joan hasn't had sex in over a year, and she decides to have a one-night stand with Davis. And y'all know Davis is the restaurant owner to the restaurant where Joan and her girlfriends eat at all the time. So my question is, how long have you gone without sex? And, also too, Joan has that 3-month rule to where she does not have sex for 3 months. I tried to implement the 3-month rule, but then I have like that angel on one side, on one shoulder, and that devil on the other. So the angel is like, make them wait. It'll be so well worth it, and they'll value you and they'll respect you. And then that devil be like, whatever, get it in, put it on him, ride him till he can't take it no more, give him that whap. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes I fall for the devil, that little devil on the shoulder, and sometimes I fall for the angel on the shoulder. And, Uncle Steve Harvey, I'll call him my uncle because he's my uncle in my head. Don't judge me. But, Uncle Steve Harvey, he has his books out and he says, women should make the men wait and, don't give up the cookie. I think his is a 60-day or a 90-day rule, to not give up the cookie. To each his own. There's been plenty of people who said that it has worked for them. And then there's been people who said that shit don't work for them. I don't know. I think we're all adults, and sometimes you go out and you have a one-night stand and it turns into a full-blown relationship, and sometimes it's just a one-night stand. I think women have some men tendencies at times too. Like sometimes all we want is the sex. We don't want a relationship with you. We don't want to, wake up and see you the next day. We want to get it in and roll out. We're not trying to have any commitments, no ties, no nothing. And I think men, they get kind of like shamed into like, that's all they want is to hit it and quit it. You just want to hit it and quit it. You don't want no commitment. You don't want a relationship. But I think there's some women out there that are the same way as well. So I wonder what you guys have to say about that, what you think about that. Always remember too, y'all, you can always leave a message so I can read that, and I would definitely respond to your message on the next episode. Okay? All right. Now, um, in this episode too, you guys also notice Tony, she has sex to receive gifts, financial stability. You know, all of them were having like a conversation as far as like they were saying, you know, Joan, she has her 3-month rule, right? Well, Tony is like, forget a 3-month rule. You know, if he buys me diamonds, pearls, a car, a house, he can get it right then and there. Like, it doesn't matter, you know. So it's kind of like, is your cookie for sale? You know, is it for sale? Do you give it away to the first thing, you know, the first man that bats his eye with those muscles and he all oiled up? Or, you know, do you hold on to the cookie and try to find out what the guy is about? I mean, it's just so like, I don't know. It makes me think of this conversation that I had a while ago with some friends about sexual liberation. You know, like some women feel like they have to hold on to their cookie. They can't express their sexual nature because they're women, and they will be, you know, slut shamed and called hoes and prostitutes and everything. Where men can go out here and they can, you know, see a chick and take her home and bang her the next day, or they can go to a strip club and grab a stripper and take her home the next day and bang her. It is a the word isn't contradiction. I can't even think of the word right now, but it is very is the word bias that I'm looking for? I don't even know the word that I'm looking for. It's like right on the tip of my tongue. But it makes me think about my friends who have daughters who have sons. It's like if their son go out here, well, this is more so with fathers. If their son go out here and their son smash their, you know, first female or has sex with their first female, they'd be like, woo, yeah, that's my son right there. That's my boy right there. And they can have the exact the daughter be the exact same age or even older than their son. And if she goes out and has sex and comes back home and be like, oh, dad, I had sex. He'd be like, well, why did you do that? You're too young. You shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be doing that. I know it's a word that I can't think of right now, but it's definitely a contradiction, and it's like, you know, kind of like the battle of the sexes. It's like men are okay doing certain things and women are not okay doing certain things. And I think that it should be the same across the board, because if I had a son and a daughter, I would have that exact same sex talk, that sexual education talk with the both of them. Because while my daughter can get pregnant and bring me home a grandbaby before I'm ready, my son can go out here and get a female pregnant and still bring me home a grandbaby. You know what I'm saying? It's still the same thing. There's still the same sexual transmitted diseases that both my son and my daughter can catch. And so I think if more people have that open, candid conversations with their daughters and their sons, and especially those fathers don't make those sons feel like, okay, it's cool, like it's a rite of passage. Like I think the rapper's name is Boosie. I'm not really big into rap, but I've seen him on a couple of different podcasts and, you know, on social media himself, where he has expressed that he's allowed his 12 or 13-year-old son to get oral sex from grown women. You know, he's taking them to clubs and he's taking him to, you know, to have sex with older women. And his thing is, I'm raising a man. I'm kind of like, for me, that's definitely pedophile. Any grown woman that sleeps with a young boy, I don't care how much his father is paying you, that's pedophile. And it's vice versa. If there was a grown man being paid to have sex with a younger girl, it's the same thing. So I feel like I'm getting all, you know, going all across the board here. Let's get back to the episode, okay? So, you know, Tony, she's cool with, you know, having sex with whomever as long as they can financially support her or afford her. And then Lynn says for her, sex is freedom. And that goes back to what I was talking about when, you know, women aren't allowed, or they carry the stigma that they can't openly talk about sex, their sexuality, and it's like they have to be tied down to one man. They can't have sex with multiple men without being called a slut or a whore. And for Lynn, she's like, her sexuality is freedom. She doesn't, the person doesn't have to be rich, but he doesn't have to be, he can be poor, he could be black, he could be white, he could, her sexuality is just a broad spectrum. She does not put anything in a box. And, I kind of can relate to that. Now, I'm not a freaky deaky out here, jumping into everybody's bed, but I like what I like when it comes to sex, and I like to be able to express that. I have been in a relationship, actually my last relationship, to where I wasn't able to openly express myself sexually with him without him feeling like I was coming down on him, or like I was saying that his sex was bad. And that's not what I was saying. When we are intimate with certain people, I'm gonna call a person A, B, okay? Person A may like sex a little rougher than you're normally accustomed to having sex, or, being intimate. And while you're in that relationship, whether it's a month, 2 years, 4 years, whatever, you have grown accustomed to now having a little, rough sex here and there, being a little extra freaky deaky. Now, say that relationship ends, right? And you two go your separate ways, and now you're with two different people. Who's to say person B is going to like the same sexual experience that person A had? Maybe this person B likes more passion, likes to kiss more, likes more intimacy, likes more holding and fondling. And if you're not able to freely express that need in your relationship, it is going to cause problems. It is definitely, I have to say, it definitely has caused problems in my previous relationship. So, that's Lynn's tone on things. And then, your girl Maya, she is so in love with her husband. Her and Darnell, they high school sweethearts. So she's just like, whatever y'all talking about, I'm in love with my husband. My husband is good. I ain't got to worry about no one night stands. I ain't never have a one night stand. So, that's just their take on the whole one night stand thing. Now, my question is, if you haven't had sex in a long time and you're single, would you call an ex for a booty call before you try a one night stand? So that was the thing that Joan was dealing with on this episode. It was like, I want to have sex, although I have this 3-month rule. I'm just so she's so sexually frustrated. She want to, dust that monkey off, you know what I'm saying? She wants to, float around in the waters a little bit. And, I just have this thing about my ex, I cannot say I've never doubled back around to sex with an ex, because I have. Now, doubling back around and jumping back into a full-blown relationship with the ex, no, I've never ever done that. But I have had an ex who has had awesome sex, and I was single and he was single, and it was like, I don't want to add another body to my, to my count. I don't want to put another mile on my coochie, my hot pocket, my yanni, whatever you call your box. I don't want to put another, I don't want to put more mileage on it. I'd rather go to somebody that I already know. I know that this sex is good, so I'm familiar. He's familiar with how I like it. I'm familiar with how he likes it. So, I have went around and dipped back into the ex goodie box, and I don't knock it. And if you do knock it, I say don't knock it before you try it. I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't go and do a whole full-blown relationship, because there was a reason why we broke up. But I would definitely go back, as long as we end it applicably, and there's no animosity or hatred or anything like that, yeah, I sure will. I sure will. So that was, what Joan was thinking about was like, which one of her exes can she go back to, because she didn't have anyone that she wanted, brand new. She wanted to get to know somebody, and she really wasn't feeling the whole one night stand thing. But I say, ladies and gentlemen, do what works for you. Sometimes you got an itch that you can't scratch, and it needs to be scratched. And we do what we got to do. All right, so listen, y'all know they were also having a conversation during this episode as far as like, is black men packing? I don't. Okay. I think it's a myth. I ain't gonna say I think it's a myth. I know it's a myth. Okay, all black men are not packing. Okay, that's just like, people used to say tall men. If you got a real tall man, 9 times out of 10, he got a big Johnson. Or if he got big ass feet, he got a big Johnson. All of those are myths. Like, they are so myths. So, okay, I had my heart broken one time, right? Not figuratively, but I was messing with this guy, and I'm not going to say his name, but I am going to say his height because that's what got me interested. Like, that's what caught my attention. And I don't believe he listened to this podcast, but if he do, oh well. But 6'9", okay? He's 6'9" tall. When I tell you, I look up and I'm just like, oh my goodness, the height alone. I love me a tall man, y'all. Now, I've dated shorter men. I'm 5'6". I've dated guys shorter than me, like 5'5", 5'4". But my thing, what is it called? Achilles tendons is a tall man. Chocolate. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm getting hot and bothered. But yes, so he's 6'9", and he has really big feet because he's so tall, right? So I just knew. I was like, cha-ching. I hit the jackpot. I hit the jackpot. I hit the jackpot. No. When he undressed, now let me break this down too, though, because it's two things. When you're in love with someone, you don't see, or you're blinded by love. So it's like the motion in the ocean doesn't matter because you're so in love with this person that, they're touching you is awesome. They're kissing, the moaning, the friction, everything, it's just great. So in that moment, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is good. This is good. This is good. Now, when he first undressed, the size, I was instantly shocked because it was, smaller in size. And, but once we were intimate and, I was so in love, or so in lust, let's say that. I was so in lust that everything else he was doing, kind of made up for his shortcomings. Yeah, but it's a myth. It is definitely a myth because I've been with, like I said, he's the tallest man that I've ever been with, and he was very, not all the way there. And I've been with shorter guys who damn near were like elephant trunks. And I've been with guys, who have smaller feet, but very large, third legs. And I've been, and I'm saying all of this not to say, because hold on, I really sound like I've just been all around the world. But I am very open and honest. And I think that these are definitely conversations that women should be able to have openly and honest without feeling ashamed of their sexual experiences. Men do it all of the time. And that's not to say just because men do it, we should do it. But we have the exact same right to express ourselves as we see fit and how we see, what we need to see and what we need to know. So, now, when they say, white guys, you have smaller penises than black guys. I don't know that to be true or not because I have not physically been with a white man or a Caucasian man. And I'm not knocking anyone who does, do what works for you. That's just not my thing. It's just not my thing at all. I love me a chocolate man. More chocolate, the better. So now I've watched porn and I've seen some white guys that have really, really, really tiny penises. But then I've seen some white guys and I'm like, yo, is that real? It's so funny the myths that we learn or that we're taught or even that we see, and we don't realize that we've been programmed to think or to believe a certain way until it kind of happens. Because I've been programmed to think, all white men have very small penises. But like I said, what I've seen on porn, and I even have friends who, date white guys or whatever, and they be like, no, girl, he was packing. I'm like, for real? For real, for real. Tell me about it, girl. Tell me all about it. That was funny, though. That leads me into my next question. Does size matter? Does size matter? Does size matter? Matter? You know what? So, my opinion, I'm going to say it does not matter. Okay? I don't know. Now I'm about to be conflicted on my answer. I would say it doesn't matter because just like I was telling you about 6ix9ine, I was so in lust or so in love with him and the attention and the affection that he was giving me that even when we were having sex, it felt like he was bigger than what he was because he was doing everything else. I mean, he licked me from the Rudy to the Tootie. He sucked the toes and the fingers and the back and the neck and the ears. And I am so sensitive during intercourse. Like, you can blow on me and I probably orgasm. But then, again, if that love isn't there, if we don't have anything else going for us but the sex, then I'm going to have to say size does matter if that was the case, because if we don't have anything else, we're not in a relationship and we don't have anything in common and all we do is meet up and have sex. Yeah, your sex got to be good. Your sex has to be good. You got to be working with something, nice. But then you got some men that can make up for what they don't have. You have guys that eat coochie better than they fuck. And for some women, they don't care how they get that orgasm. They don't care how they get that nut as long as they get it. So I'm going to say, for me, size matters depending on the situation. If I'm in love with you and we are together and everything is great and I take care of you and you take care of me, if you're lacking in the size of your penis, but you make up in every other instance or every other way, then no, size doesn't matter. But again, if we're just meeting up and we're sex buddies or cuddy buddies or whatever they're called in the 2020, yeah, you got to be packing. But this is another thing too, ladies and gentlemen. Just because you're packing doesn't mean your sex is good, because there's some men who have really big penises that don't know how to use them. And the vagina is only but so deep. So if you got a 14, 15 inch penis, all that's not going to fit in the vagina, So just because it's big in size and width doesn't necessarily mean that it's gonna make you cream. Okay. So, listen, I have another question. Would you accept drinks from a man at the bar if you were married? So, y'all know in this episode, they all go to the bar. They're laughing and joking. Maya and Tony, they're always at odds. They're always at each other's throats. So they're at a bar and Maya is at the bar and she's flirting and she gets this guy to buy her some drinks. He actually buys her 2 drinks. And let's start right there. Men, okay. Do you buy women drinks at the bar with the intentions on getting the draws? on getting some? Are you trying to get her liquidy liquid enticed? Are you letting those alcoholic drinks flow because you're trying to have that one night stand? Or are you trying to get to know her? Like, I really want to know what you guys be thinking when you're at the bar and you're buying these drinks. Is it just like, oh, she's cute, I want to try to get her number and I want to try to talk to her, like I really want to try to get to know her? Or I just want to buy her some drinks and get her real, intoxicated and hopefully smash in the bathroom of the club? Guys, chime in, let me know. I really, really, honestly and truly want to know. But anyways, Maya gets a drink from this guy, and he not only buys her one drink, but he buys her two drinks. And so Tony comes up to her and she tells the guy, oh, I hope you know that she's married. And Maya's like, and he already knows that I'm married. As she takes the drinks from the guys, she was like, and one of these are for my husband. And the guy takes both drinks back. Like, for real? Like, I mean, who did he think he was buying an extra drink for? There wasn't another female at the bar with Maya. Maya was by herself. But I guess he could have thought maybe she was taking a drink back to the table with, with her girls. So he was going to buy her a drink and buy her friend a drink. I have been in a situation to where, guys have bought me a drink and bought my homegirl a drink because we're together. And it's kind of like, are y'all buying that drink so the homegirl can, help with your mission of getting my number or getting in my panties? Like, what is it? But I just thought that was so funny because Maya and Tony, they are always at each other's throats. And Maya, she had already took a little sip of her drink. She just knew she was about to walk away with 2 free drinks. But old boy snatched those drinks up so fast and he was like, I think not. That was funny. That was really funny. So, Maya and, no, sorry, not Maya, Joan and William came up with the sex pack. Okay, because William is Joan's best friend, and that makes William reminds me on this show. William reminds me so much of my best friend, y'all. Like, he has my back. I can call him for anything, and he's gonna keep it. He's gonna keep it honest with me. He's gonna keep it true with me, and it's just so funny because, like, when I think about this sex pact that William and Joan has made, their thing is like, if we're not in a relationship, say, in 2 years or in a year, we'll just get together, we'll have sex, we'll help each other out or whatever. So, it just makes me think of my best friend. Now, no, before y'all jump to conclusions, me and my best friend, we do not have a sex pack, okay? We have not talked about a sex pack. We have no intentions on talking about a sex pack. He is currently single, and I'm in a situation. So we're just really, really good friends. But William just reminds me so much of my best friend, because if ever I'm like in a situation to where I need a date or I need advice or whatever, I can always just call him and he'd be like, bam, let's do this. Let's go. Like, you know what I'm saying? Even in my relationship, my past relationship, my boyfriend just wasn't outgoing. He didn't like going to the clubs. He didn't like going to the bars. He didn't like socializing. He didn't like doing anything. He didn't like doing arts and crafts. He didn't like playing games. He didn't like doing much of anything that I like to do. But my best friend, on the other hand, he likes doing all of that stuff. So it's like, well, I'm just going to call my best friend and we're going to go out and have some drinks, or we're going to go do this, or we're going to go do that. We're going to go do this. We're going to go do that. Now, that does open up another question as far as relationship goes, but I'm going to put a pin in that because that is going to be a podcast for another episode. Let me bring it on back to this one night stand. I want to know how many of you guys are willing to openly say, hey, I had one night stands. I'm currently having one night stands. I just find it to be really interesting. I think more so men, of course, are more vocal on their one night stands than what women are. But back to the question at hand. Will you make a sex pact with someone? It doesn't even have to be a best friend. It can be a friend, an associate, or anybody. If the two of you are single and you say you've been single for a year or 2 years, and you know him, he knows you, or you know her and she knows you, whatever. And it's just like, listen, I'd rather have sex with you because I know you than to go out here and try to have a random one night stand with somebody. I think I'm open to the option. Now, the more that I talk about it, the more that I think about it, I'm definitely open to the option. It depends on who the person is, but I can see myself being open to the option. This episode, they also talked about escort services. Since Joan didn't have a man, and she wanted to have sex or whatever, they was just throwing out different ideas as to, how she can get her rocks off. Me personally, I'm against escort services. That's like a prostitute to me. I'm not going to go out here and hire nobody to have sex with me. I'm not going to hire no one to go on a date with me. Although, they have all of these different services now where you can hire people for dates. You can hire people for, I like to call them seat fillers. And that's a real job. I seen a movie one time and it was called The Seat Filler. And it was like about this orchestra. It was a really big orchestra, like really famous people or whatever, but they didn't want to have any empty seats. So they actually hired professional people to be seat fillers. They were very nice looking people. They're very attractive. They dressed very nicely and all that good stuff. But their job was to simply come and fill a seat. And once the show was over, then it was gone. But it made for great pictures when they had those professional photos taken of the orchestra and of the audience and everything, because there was no empty seat in the house. And when they advertise it, it makes people like myself that they're advertising to like, wow, all of those people are there. There's not one empty seat in the house. I want to go there. So it's a good marketing strategy. It's a great marketing strategy. But they do have escort services that, I like to call them seat fillers. You have the ones who are willing to have sex with you if the price is right. And then you have the ones who are really willing to just, date you or act like they're your date or whatever. I've seen so many movies where women have hired dates for weddings. They're going to a old friend's wedding, and they don't have a significant other or children or whatever. So yeah. So that's another question for you guys. Escort services. How do you feel about it? Would you hire an escort service for whatever your need may be? Me, I'm not gonna say I'm not that desperate, because I don't think that people who hire escorts or partake in that, I don't think that is desperate. I think that they have a need and they want that need fulfilled, and they're willing to do it, several different ways that I'm just not comfortable with doing it. Would you approach a man for sex? I just asked that question right there, didn't I? Just jumped right on in there. Would you ask a man for sex? Like, I think women nowadays are definitely a lot more upfront and forward than what we used to be. I think the generations have definitely just went on and put it out there like, look, okay. and I've seen women buy men drinks, and I've seen women, I can't say I ever, I've never bought a guy, I never walked into like the bar and was like, I want to buy him a drink. But like, if I've been out and like some of my guy friends are out, I'll like buy the table drinks, like around the shots or something like that. But I've never approached a stranger and be like, what you drinking? Can I buy you a drink? Nothing like that. I have approached a guy before and asked what he was drinking in order to make conversation, but I didn't buy him a drink. And I've never approached the man honestly and like straightforward and been like, yo, what's good with that Woody? You know, how that thing hanging slaying. I've never been the type to be, I'm not going to say be that forward, but I guess I just haven't been that forward. Now, I can pick up on the hints and clues that they're trying to, proposition me. And if I'm interested, I'll flirt back and we'll take it from there. But me approaching a man for sex, that's a no-go for me. I know there's some bold women out there. I'm just not that one. I'm not that one at all. Now, for the bold women who would approach a man, please, 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 y'all, let me know. How would you approach him? How would you say it? What would you do? Like, I really, really want to know, because listen, the way COVID has us set up, and now that we're back into phase 1, when I do get to go out and maybe go to a bar or do something, whatever, I might have to, approach and be like, yo, how that thing hang? But I need to know how to do it and say it. I need to know what y'all think, what y'all got to say. All right, so y'all, back to this episode, right? So Davis is in a whole relationship, y'all. He has a fiance, and so I'm just trying to figure out how he was even cool, with the thought of, a one night stand or a fling with Joan. So honestly, though, he rejected her when she tried to flirt and push up on him or whatever. She was rejected because in this particular episode, because if you guys continue to watch the season, then he at some point decides like, yeah, I want Joan, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. This particular episode, he does reject her because he's engaged or whatever. And I'm honestly, guys, when it comes to stuff like that, I'm not good with rejection like that. To be turned down for a job, that's one thing. But to put my cookie on the line and the guy rejects my cookie, we're talking about hurt feelings, pride. I might go be an ostrich and bury my head in the sand. But Joan was very forward, very pushy, and she really, really tried to pursue that thing with Davis, which I thought was really, really funny. So she tried to say that she was so, tipsy or intoxicated that she needed him to take her home. And he did. He took her home. He obliged her and took her home. But she didn't get what she thought she was going to get once he took her home. So that was really funny. That was really funny to see. So y'all also know this episode, right? So Joan and Davis, they didn't sleep together. Once they went back to Joan's house, they had a drink. They had a glass of wine, and Joan accidentally spilled wine on Davis' shirt. So when Joan's girlfriends came in, Davis was without a shirt because Joan was washing his shirt. But Joan lied to her friends and made them think that she had sex. Like, first of all, for me, Joan's too old to be lying on her cookie. Okay. And I'm not going to lie to my friends and say I had sex with somebody just for GP, like just for a good look. I'm not going to do that. And that's what Joan did, which, got her in some trouble, because it got back to Davis's fiance that supposedly, him and Joan hooked up, and they didn't. So have you guys ever lied to your friends and told them that you smashed something when you didn't? I could see men doing this. I have a hard time seeing women do it though. But I know that I know a lot of guys who said, "Oh, I hit it," and they ain't hit nothing. They bragging to their homeboys. They feel like, they gotta let their homeboys know that they did something that they did not do. But I thought that I was very disappointed to see that Joan felt like she had to lie to her girlfriends about having sex with Davis when she didn't. And I guess because she felt so pressured by her girlfriends to have a one night stand that she felt like she had to lie and say she did when she didn't. But this overall was a really good episode, guys, and it laid out a lot of great topics for great discussions. My thing is rules. Okay, like there has to be some one night stand rules. I would love to hear what you guys' one night stand rules are. Me, right now at 38, I'm not having any one night stands. Now, like I said in the past, I've had some one night stands, and depending on the one night stand, there come rules. If it was legitimately a one night stand, then I would, you would definitely have rules. Like there's rules to the game, right? So I would love to know what you all think of this particular episode, and also what your one night stand rules are. Final thoughts. We have come to the moment in time where I give you my final thoughts. As you get older, as I got older, or as I'm getting older, the things that I did as a young adult, I can no longer do in my older adult years. So I just like to say, everyone do what is best for themselves, to each his own. And if we can have less judgment, I think more women will be open and honest. And I think that they will be able to have these candid conversations about their sexualities without feeling as if it's something that they have to hide or something that they have to be ashamed of. And if you're out there having one night stands, wrap it up, because STDs and STDs are sexual transmitted diseases, but AIDS is still out there, HIV is still out there, and there are things out there that can't be cured with the shot or with the pill. So, with that said, y'all do y'all. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Organic the Podcast. Remember to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can follow under Organic Podcast. And also you can follow me on IG, which is also Organic Podcast. Thank you, each and every one of you, for taking the time out to listen to this episode. Please make sure you leave your reviews. I would love to read your reviews and respond back to your reviews. So everyone have a great, great day. I don't know what day it is for you guys that you're listening to this podcast, but remember, you're one of a kind. I love you. Be blessed.